now to take a look at the day's business news with Brian Quinn. And Brian, we're going to start with thousands of job cuts at Deutsche Bank, one of the biggest overhauls to an investment bank since the global financial crisis.
That's right, Eve. Entire teams in Deutsche Bank's Asian operations told Monday their positions are gone. Employees in London and New York getting news of their fates as offices opened this morning. The 7.4 billion euro restructuring follows a failed merger attempt with fellow German lender Commerzbank in April. It marks a significant retreat from Deutsche's ambition to compete with Wall Street. Laurent Berstecker reports.
A radical overhaul for Germany's top bank. Deutsche Bank unveiled a 7.4 billion euro restructuring plan on Sunday that will see it considerably downsize its volatile investment banking division.
This is about reinforcing our strengths and cutting back significantly in areas where we're not as competitive as before, such as stock trading.
The bank will cut some 18,000 jobs over the next 3 years, around a fifth of its current workforce. It will also shut down its equities trading business, shrink its bonds and rates trading operations, and create a capital release unit in order to sell around 74 billion euros worth of unwanted assets. The strategy signals a shift away from the bank's global ambitions after it spent years trying to compete with Wall Street trading giants like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan Chase.
I think investment banking by Deutsche Bank wasn't as successful as expected, and these drastic measures are the necessary consequence.
Deutsche Bank has been battling declining revenue and rising operating costs for years, and has been plagued by a series of lawsuits, which saw it pay out billions of euros in settlements since the 2008 financial crisis. The restructuring is seen by many as a last chance for the firm after merger talks with German rival Commerzbank collapsed earlier this year.
Checking in on the markets now. Shares in Deutsche on the rise Monday, opening up over 2%. Major investors have been pushing for an overhaul at the bank for a while now, apparently optimistic that it will work out. European indexes overall opening a bit lower Monday as Friday's better than expected jobs report in the U.S. dampens hopes of a steep interest rate cut by the Federal Reserve. London and Paris both down just under 0.25%. Asian indexes losing ground Monday amid an ongoing trade dispute between Japan and South Korea over restrictions on high-tech Japanese exports. The Nikkei in Tokyo closing down nearly 1%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng down around 1.8%. The Shanghai Composite down 2.6%. Samsung's recent profit warning continuing to hammer its share price. The Kospi index in Seoul closing down 2.2%. The next, leaders of the African Union officially launched the first continent-wide free trade zone on Sunday. Proponents hope the scheme will boost internal African trade by up to 60% over the next 3 years, but plenty of challenges do remain. Luke Schrager has the details.
It's been hailed as a historic step towards peace and prosperity across Africa after years of negotiations. The launch of a continent-wide free trade area, the world's largest since the creation of the World Trade Organization in 1994, announced at an African Union summit in Niger.
With the signatures of Benin and Nigeria just now, we are at 54 out of 55. So almost all the members of our union, with the last instruments handed over, we have also recorded 27 ratifications.
The bloc, if successful, would unite 1.3 billion people and be worth $3.4 trillion and regularize trade among a hodgepodge of existing regional trade blocs. The major hope is that it will boost internal trade on the continent, something that at 17% currently lags far behind exports to both Asia and Europe at 59% and 69% respectively. The headquarters of the new bloc will be located in Ghana, which dismissed criticism that Africa wasn't ready for a trade bloc on such a scale.
It is not just coming together in an unstructured way. It's a rule-based system, and if you look at the structure of the WTO, you'd realize that after the WTO, this is probably one of the most organized, is going to be one of the most organized free trade regimes around the world.
There are still challenges to address, including poor road and rail links, border bureaucracy and petty corruption, not to mention zones of major unrest and conflict.
Finally, for business, the Dutch women's national soccer team may be headed home a bit disappointed, but there is good news for at least 4 of them who play for Ajax Amsterdam in their regular careers. The women's side there has signed a contract giving them equal pay with their men's team, along with equal leave and health benefits. Gender pay parity has been a key issue at this year's Women's World Cup, with the U.S. women's team pay roughly a third that of the men's team. FIFA's prize pot also just $30 million for the women, compared with $400 million for last year's Men's World Cup. So good news for those Dutch players at Ajax, but obviously a ways to go.
Indeed, just a small step, but in the right direction. Brian Quinn, thanks a lot for that business wrap-up. And